Hello, sophomore seminar. Welcome back. This is module 2. If you have not completed the first module on resumes, you need to go back and do that now. So do not do this one until you've completed the other one. All right, so first things first. Let's take a look at 3 different people describing the same thing. Okay, so human resources representative, that's their job. So here's how they describe their job. Person number 1, Creed, says worked at Dunder Mifflin. Person number 2, Dwight, says worked with coworkers to make them stay at their job longer. So we get a little bit more detail about what he was doing on a daily basis as a human resources representative. And lastly, Michael Scott collaborated with program director to create a sustainability plan to improve employee retention. So which one is the best? You should have selected my good friend Michael Scott. Ding, 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 ding. We have detail, we have an interesting verb at the beginning, okay, and we know exactly what he did, who he was working with, and what they were doing, okay? So, not good, better, best, okay? And we want to get our resumes to have the best descriptions possible to give people the most information that they can. All right, so one-liners can take your resume from average to excellent. But you might be saying, Miss Mattingly, what's a one-liner? A one-liner is a description you give for each component of your resume. It does not include a noun. For most of you, when I was looking at your drafts of your resume that you completed last year for freshman seminar, did an excellent job with making sure that you didn't have an I or a we or whatever at the beginning. And I know you spent a long time on one-liners, but some of them still need help. And we have to create some for the categories and the things that we added to our resume from module 1. So how do we create a strong one-liner? First and foremost, you want to list everything you did for a specific organization, club, sport, job, right? So if I am in the Spirit Club and I create posters and promote pep rallies, I'm going to put all of those things down so I can get a clear picture. Next, I'm going to choose 1 or 2 of the main tasks, either the most important things that you did or the most impressive things that you did. So it might be, if I'm volunteering at the food bank, I maybe sorted food, but then maybe I also worked with clients to help meet their food needs, and that's going to be both the most important and the most impressive thing, other than putting canned goods in a box maybe isn't as important or impressive. You're going to choose an action verb for each component. We have plenty of examples, so if you are struggling, you can also look, you can also Google and things like that to find great action verbs, but it does need to be accurate and appropriate. Then you're going to include any data or details, right? So how many days a week? For how long? How many students did you tutor? How many a variety of things that you can add there. You're just trying to add that detail. And include times, right? So how frequently are you going? I work at the bakery Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I would put 3 days a week, things like that for 1 year. All right, so the best is this type of formula, and you can come back to this part in the video when you're writing your own, okay? You want to start with an action verb, add the data and details, and add the amount of time that you did it. If you have those 3 components, you're going to get a strong one-liner. So think back to Dwight, Creed, and Michael. They were all describing the same job, right? This human resources thing, but one sounded much better than the others. Make sure your resume is the one that stands out. When colleges and programs are reading resumes, we want to make sure we're making an impact. All right, so here's an example. A student volunteers at an elementary school each Wednesday for 3 hours. While there, he helps with dismissal, he organizes papers for the teacher, tutors students, and grades assignments. Generally, he works with a group of 15 to 20 students and assists 3 teachers. He walks from school to volunteering each day and has been doing this for 2 years. So how do we make this, what the student is actually doing, all this information, into an impactful one-liner? So, We're going to list everything he does. Choose 1 to 2 main tasks, right? Okay, so organizes, tutors, grades, and then we see that data points, 15 to 20 students, 3 teachers, 3 hours, right? Choose action verbs, assist with dismissal, organization, grading, as well as tutor. Step 4, include data and details. 3 teachers, 15 to 20 students. And step 5, 3 hours per week. So we're going to add all that information to get our one-liner. Assisted 3 teachers with grading, dismissal, and organization, and tutored 15 students for 3 hours each week. This is 2 clauses of a one-liner, but it still counts as one line. Okay, so we get all this information about the impactful work that the student was doing while volunteering, and we've removed any extra information like walking there, or and that 2 years will be represented when we put the time. So we don't need it in there. So we wouldn't have to say 3 hours each week for 2 years. All right, so that's the end of descriptions of one-liners. Now we're going to move back to our own resume and start updating them. So if you have not opened your resume, please go ahead and do that now. Pause the video and find your resume. All right, at this point, you should have your resume open. I have brought back Lyon McBride's resume from yesterday or from Module 1, depending on when you did it. Okay, so as you can see, he has several one-liners from last year, as well as new information that needs one-liners. So what he needs to do is first go through his old one-liners, read them over, and see if we need to update them. Okay, so I think we're going to look down at this Rebuilding Northside one. So the one-liner says, remodeled and painted the outside of an elder woman with students and teachers from Yes Prep Northside for 4 hours on a Saturday. All right, a couple of things are pretty wrong with this. Remodeled and painted are great verbs, so that is not the problem. The problem comes with it's grammatically a mess. So we definitely, did we remodel and paint the outside of a woman? That doesn't make any sense. So we need to make sure that that is removed. Okay, remodeled and painted. Okay, what did we remodel and painted? A home with students and teachers from Yes Prep Northside for 4 hours on a Saturday. So we know that the data comes in, we did it for 4 hours. That was how many? With who? Students and teachers. And what did we do? We remodeled and painted. So that simple fix and update makes this a much more impactful one-liner. Okay, now we can do the same. The football looks pretty good. If we can think about positions, if you're doing any type of sports, practice fundamental skills for football twice a week and attended all games. But we also maybe want to include what position they played. So practice fundamental skills as the quarterback. We already know it's football because it tells us that. I would also don't abbreviate. Okay, so once I've updated all of my current one-liners, then I can go back and craft the new ones. Okay, so for Cottonwood Gulch, I might list out all the things that I've done. And then go back and follow that process. If you need to remind yourself of what the process is, rewind back to the beginning of this video and watch the PowerPoint again. Please use the examples on your handout. So let's take a look at that as well. Okay, so we know that's our rubric, but here are at the bottom, you also see that you have some sample resume one-liners that can help you organize your thoughts and create your own. Okay, for the remainder of this time until you can move on to Resume Module 3, you will be doing these one-liners. It's also a great idea to have someone else read your one-liners in order to make sure they make sense, that they are as impactful as they can be. If a stranger or a friend has a question on what you did, then your one-liner is not working for you. So please use this video and your handout to create impactful one-liners. Once you have completed that, your resume should be ready to be finished off and uploaded to Naviance, which we will work on in Resume Module 3.